Boker Tov. Today's daf is Daf Lamed Hey in Sandhedrin. We're for Chenikol Beis Yisrael and Sunnah Shivi. The last three lines, the third from the bottom line on Lamed Dalet Amid Bey. Says the Gemara, Din Nefash is done b'yom. Wait, so the Mishnah said that the Din Nefash, when it comes to capital cases, they are judged during the day and they must be completed during the day. Right? This is Mamanas Din b'yom v'gom b'layla. Din Nefash is done in b'yom v'gomer b'yom. Have to complete it during the day. Why is that? Where do we get that from? What's the source? Amar Shimon Bar Chiyama, the pasuk is v'hoka osam lifnei Hashem. When the Jews did avodah zarah, Hashem told Moshe to get the Rashi Ha'am and gather them together and judge them and hang them up neged Hashemesh, opposite the sun. In other words, when you, as we'll see soon, you're not allowed to have death row in the Torah. When the Sanhedrin, whether Sanhedrin or Sanhedrin cut in 23, when they condemn a person to death, he must be killed immediately. You take him right out to the gallows. If somebody can, we'll see later on, if somebody can find some reason to get him off the hook, even on his way to the gallows, I'm using the word gallows loosely, but taking out to the hangman, that you could stop it, but he has to be killed right away. You don't let him stay overnight in death row and worry about dying. That's called, as we'll see, suspension of death or ma'ana inui hadin. So here it says when you have to hang them up. Why is it during the day? Because you have to kill them immediately after the verdict, and it has to be opposite the sun. You can't do it at night. Amar Rav Chisda, and as I said, Hashem told Moshe, kill them, hang them up opposite the sun. Amar Rav Chisda, last line on the page. How do we know that the word hoka osam or hoka anum means hanging? The Chsivit says when it comes to when David had the children of Shaul killed, it says vokanam lashem, and this is he had this discussion with the Gevonim. They had killed Shaul's had killed the Gevonim, and as a reprisal, David said, "What will it take to settle this matter?" Take Shaul's children and kill them. And it says, V'okanam Lashem, and hang them up and Givat Shaul Bechir Hashem, the chosen one of God, hang them up over there. Eksiv, after they were hung up, it says, Vatikach Ritzpa Basaya. She was one of the wives of Shaul. Ritzpa Basaya. Ritzpa took as a sack, she took the sackcloth, and she took a cover about the Teula Elatzur, and she spread it on the rock, meaning on the mountain where they were hung up, at Chilas Ksir at the beginning of the harvest season. So what do you see? When she spread it, why did she spread it upon them? Because they were hung up as a demonstration of their sin, for killing the Givonim. And these children of Shaul were killed, and they were hung up there. And what did it say? You covered up she covered them up. The mother took sackcloth and covered them up, that they shouldn't be prey for animals and birds during the day and animals at night. And so what do you see? Rashi says that you see obviously that they were exposed. Right? It says, Yibama says, what do you mean? You're not supposed to leave him hanging. You're not supposed to leave him overnight hanging there. Okay, so it says over there, better to uproot one letter in the Torah, that be Merkada Shem Shemaim for Hesia, that the Jews don't just commit murder, but if something was done that was wrong, like this kind of a murder where they quote him, we're going to take revenge on them and settle the matter. So that was what it's about. So you see over here that Hokanum Lashem Begivat Shaul, it says there, it says how do we know? We're trying to figure out how the word Hokam means hanging up. It says Hokanum, and it says she covered them up. That means they were hanging naked. That shows that they were hanging. So you see that the word Hokah means hanging. Ksiv, it takes out the vav. Ksiv, Vayom Hashem Moshe. Go back to the pasuk we started with when Hashem told Moshe to gather the Rashi Nasim, to take the Rashi Ha'am and judge the people who did Avodah Zarah. This is not, we're going back and forth. First we were talking about that story, then we went to the story of Shaul's children, and now we're coming back to Moshe when the Jews committed idolatry. Take the heads of the people. Take the heads of the people, so to speak, and it says, hang them up. So the Gemara says, what do you mean? If the people sin, they didn't sin, the leaders didn't sin, some of the people sinned. So what do you mean? Take the leaders of the people and hang them up? This is what it means. No, assign for them judges, and it's take the Rashi Ha'am and set up for them, let's say, many courts. Nighttime, if because you need many courts, because since many people here had to be judged, many of the people who were over us or committed adultery had to be judged. And the rule is you don't judge two capital cases in one day. So maybe that's the reason why. So you need many courts so that each court could judge a separate case. That's only if a court had to judge a capital case which involved two different kinds of capital punishment. Meaning, we know there's four kinds of capital punishment: Minatorah, skila, sreifa, harag, and chenek. And if one was skila, one was sreifa. If one was a case involving skila, one was sreifa, or any other ones, or chenek and harag, or chenek and skila, whatever it was, that the one court should not judge two different kinds of cases in one day, because they might become confused and not find a proper way to be matter. We're always looking to acquit, and we're always looking for reasons, and you might be confused if there were two different kinds of capital cases of a misa achas. But over here we're all did avodah zarah, and avodah zarah, the punishment is skila, right? Skila, and as Rashi points out, back and then make from Bezdin, meaning why hang them up if the chiv is skila? Because we have a call. We'll see this later on, that kol haniskolin nitlan, after they are stoned. Right after they're stoned. What does stoning mean? We don't think they throw stones at them. We'll see later on. They're first thrown off of a high place, right, like a cliff or something, 2-3 stories high. They're thrown off. Then they're put stones on them, and then they're hung up, right? So he says. So the point is that the question over here is, why do you need all these courts? If it's because you can't, one court can't judge two different cases. That's only if it's two different kinds of punishments that would be involved. Let's say skila and sreifa. But one court can judge many people if we're talking about the same sin, meaning it would be the same punishment. So why do you need all these courts? But rather set up many courts so that they can quickly process these people and give them their punishment, and then God's wrath will be abated. Okay, for having done avodah zarah, because they rebelled against God. Then the Mishnah went on. Dina mamnus gomen bo b'yom. Now, Dina mamnus you can complete during that very day, no matter what. Whether you find for guilt, you find for liability, if it's a mammon case liability, or to acquit him. Dina mamnus you can do either way, whether you find him liable or not liable, you can judge during the day and you complete it during the day, no matter what the judgment is, guilty or innocent. When it comes to din and nefashos, the Mishnah said, din and nefashos, gomer b'yom l'schus. If you're going to acquit, you can complete it that day. If they have a capital case, and it comes and they're judging it, and they can complete it that day if they find him innocent. However, if they are trying to find him guilty, to find him liable, then they have to suspend it overnight. In other words, you don't say the same day that he's judged, and they say, oh, okay, let's take a vote, he's guilty. That's it, guilty, take him out to the gallows. No, you suspend it overnight, sleep on it. That's called halona sadin. There's inu yadin. Inu yadin is what? Once the verdict has been rendered, you must kill him immediately. Like we said, don't let him sit on death row, and that's painful for him to sit and contemplate his being killed the next day. That's inu yadin. We kill him immediately. It's after the verdict. But before the verdict, if you're leaning towards guilt, you have to leave it overnight. Sleep on it. Maybe you'll come up you'll sleep on it. You'll come up with a reason to acquit him overnight. I mean, while you in the morning when you wake up, you'll find a reason to acquit. So that's what the Mishnah said. Benoni Mili. Where do we get this idea that you have to wait? That when it comes to dinei nefashos, you cannot kill him immediately. And as if you're leaning towards guilt, you must sleep on it. Suspend the court till the next day. We are now in suspension, or what's the word for it? We are now adjourned till the next day, right? Court's adjourned till the next day. The pasuk says, beginning of Yeshaya, mishpat. It was full originally. The Jewish people, the country was full of justice, tzedek yom ba, righteousness and judgment, and righteousness slept there. Now they're murderers. What do you mean by they're murderers? Because if they're going to kill him right away without adjourning overnight, that's murderers. They're quick to kill. That's called a murderer. Rashi says, they used to suspend it overnight to try to find some reason look for innocence. And now when they're not doing that, they're like murderers. They kill them right away. What do you mean? You didn't wait? You didn't think about it? That's like murderers. Rav Amar the pasuk says, Ashru chamotz, relieve the oppressed. Again, the pasuk, it's the same thing in the same area of Yeshaya Aleph. Ashru chamotz, relieve the oppressed. What does that mean? Ashru dayan shemach mitzastino. Praise the judge who's mechametz, meaning who waits. He waits for it to turn chametz, who suspends his judgment, waits for it overnight. That's it. V'idach, the first Tana who learns it from Tzelikim V'atam Ratzon, Yidach Ashru Chametz. What does that mean? Ashru Chametz v'lechometz. What does that mean? To relieve the oppressed and not the oppressors. What do we mean by that? Rashi explains like this. Now, let's say you have a plaintiff and a defendant. A man comes and says, I lent this guy $100. He owes me $100. So he's got the complaint first. Then what does the lova say? The other person, the defendant says, yeah, but I gave him a mashkan. Where's my mashkan? So we assume over here that we first listen to the pleas of the plaintiff, the one who's asking for the money, and not the one, so to speak, is the oppressed. The oppressed is the one who doesn't have his money back. So we listen to him. We listen to Ashru Chamotz. We relieve the oppressed one. That would be the plaintiff over here, below chometz, and not the one who's oppressing him. The idach, the one who learns that from Ashru Chamotz, that praise the one who waits with his din. What does he do with Malayas Mishpat? He learns it for this, meaning this, that we used to be full of judgment, we were full of righteousness, and now we're murderers. What are we speaking about? It was customary. The poor people did not have food. So on a fast day, they were really waiting to get their alms, to get their food, at the end of the day, and breaking the fast, they had nothing to eat. So any tinus in which they delay giving tzedakah, that's like murdering the people. They have nothing. You kill these people. They're waiting at the door over here at the end of the tinus for something to eat, and you have no bread and dates to give them. That's only if it's bread and dates, which they can eat right away. But if you're talking about giving them cash or chitis or wheat or barley that has to be processed, then there's no sin in delaying giving it to them, right? But if it's for food and bread and dates, and they need that right away, if you don't give it to them, it's like killing them. He said that we talk about tzedakah. Bradovich just said that we always say, what is a poor person? And by some measures today, if a poor person is somebody who is less than 50,000, I don't know if it's dollars or shekels, like that also can be considered poor, because if you really talk about, an avion who doesn't have what to eat, who doesn't have, somebody has a car, somebody has a house, somebody has clothing, could be worth $200. It's very hard to find somebody who doesn't have anything like that. So what is actually a poor person? But on the other hand, when we say that ain't bodkin lemazonos, if a person stretches out his hand and says, I'm hungry, you have to give them food. Yes, but for tzedakah, for money, for cash, you're entitled to. Of course, they bring you that piece of paper and plastic, which has no meaning or whatever, but you do what you can, you do what you can. But the point is that if a man wants money and you can ask for proof that he's poor, that he's needy for some other reason. But if a man asks for food, you give him food. Ain't both. If man's hungry, you give him food. Yeah.
These people all coming around the shul.
Yeah. You could. You're entitled to, if you want to bother with that. On the other hand, you could go like Rabbi Wein says. That Rabbi Wein said that some people say they're upset with these people coming into shul and bothering people and giving you money. He says, listen, I had no kavanah today. The whole davening, I was thinking about how fast he's going, how slow he's going, what do I have to do later on. I had no kavanah. Maybe the only good thing I did today was give him a quarter or give him a shekel or something. You're trying to take that away from me too. Who knows, right? But you need that. And on the other hand, we said that what we had in the Gemara, that we thank God for the crooks who come in and ask for money where they don't really need it, because that gives us an excuse not to give money. Otherwise, we'd have no excuse, right? Thank God for some of them. Some of them might be legitimate, some of them might be crooks, but the other hand, thank God that we don't have to do that, that we don't have to be, that we can be givers and not recipients. All right, so the Mishnah said, now, because of this, because we say, listen carefully, because we say that when it comes to a capital case, you may not render judgment, may render the verdict when it's leaning towards towards guilt. If they're about to say guilt and you take a vote, you don't pronounce them guilty, you suspend it overnight. Because of that, you cannot hold a capital case on Erev Shabbos or Erev Yontif. Why? So now the Gemara is going to explain. Because of that, because you must suspend the case when it's leaning towards guilt, you must suspend it overnight. Therefore, we don't judge cases on Friday or Shabbos. Now, why not? My time, because there's no way to execute the judgment properly. What should you do? If you're going to raise the case on Friday, Erev Shabbos, so start the case 9 o'clock Friday morning. What are you talking? What's the problem? So he does the case, but Ligmer did it by Shabbos, and you're going to complete render the verdict on Friday. Well, you can do that if you're going to find innocent, acquit. When we said for acquittal, you can judge a capital case and acquit him the same day. That's okay. If it works out that you're going to acquit it, it might work out. But when you sit down to judge the capital case on Friday morning, you don't know if it's going to be if you're going to quit or find him guilty. Now, let's say you're leaning towards guilt. What's going to happen there? Now you have to suspend it. So you suspend it till when? Till Shabbos morning. Okay. So you need Shabbos. Okay, fine. So judge it on Friday. So finish it on. Okay, you have to stay overnight. Friday night. You have to suspend it overnight. Friday night because you're finding the guilt and complete the case on Shabbos. What's wrong with holding court on Shabbos? Assuming nobody's writing or doing malachas only. What Shabbos say? And the girsa here is v'ligmei ledina b'shabsa v'liktlei b'shabsa, and then complete it on Shabbos and issue the verdict on Shabbos and kill him on Shabbos. You don't have to kill on Shabbos, right? How do you know that? That's gonna be our discussion. V'liktlei b'shabsa and mitzicha doch Shabbos. You're not allowed to. Mitzicha killing him is not doch Shabbos. Now, why not? Maybe it should. We'll see. And Shabbos. Okay, fine. So wait till Matzah Shabbos. So kill him on Matzah Shabbos. You can't do Shabbos. Wait till Shabbos is over. Rabbeinu Tam, whatever it is, whenever Shabbos is over, kill him then. Well, we just started off today by saying what? You have to kill him. You got to do it at the opposite the sun. Okay, so complete the judgment. Start it on Friday. Okay, if you quit him, fine. Quit it on Friday. If you're leaning towards guilt, wait till Shabbos. Render the verdict on Shabbos that he's guilty, right? Kill him on Sunday. What's the problem there? That you've right? Because now you've delayed the justice till the next day after the verdict. You can't put the guy in the cell overnight contemplating his death. Okay, so let's do this. Let's judge. Okay, let's go back. Let's judge the case on Friday. You can't do it on Shabbos because you can't kill him on Shabbos and you can't leave him overnight. So complete it on Sunday. What's the big deal? We adjourn until Sunday. People will forget their reasoning. In other words, the way they're leaning, they'll forget. What do you mean? I forgot. What do you mean when they forget? I forgot the shesar from Dayan Fam. Sue, can you repeat back the debate? Can you repeat back what was going on over here? You asked the stenographers, the scribes to repeat it. Because from Divrei Mazakim, we had that yesterday. Shnei from Dayanim, the two scribes stand before the judges, right? Because from Divrei Mazakim, they write all the pleas, both for innocence and for guilt. So the need of a Puma Kosman. They write down the words out of the mouth. In other words, they're writing down verbatim what they said. But people in their hearts forget things. They forget the reason. Yeah, that was the reason, but it's not the same. It's got to be fresh in your mind when you're coming to judge something. Therefore, there's no option. Okay, so what do we say over here? Like you said, you can't kill him on Shabbos. Why not? Why can't you kill him on Shabbos? Oh, you're drawing blood, right? But maybe this is an exception. Okay, so that's what we have. That's how we come up with the Mishnah, but we're not done. We want to know, why is it possible that we're going to be able to learn from a Kal V'chomer that maybe you will be able to kill him on Shabbos, right? Pardon? Essay what? Of killing him. Dochalosa say, but it's lo say an essay. It's a lo say essay, right? Here's Shabbos is a lo say and an essay. Keep Shabbos and lo say. Essay is not dochalosa, right? So okay, so but not that. So enochanami maybe not. The truth is right. You can't kill him on Shabbos, but we're going to come out with a reason, and we're going to say that maybe it is docha Shabbos. Let's Mises best. It should be docha Shabbos. Maybe it's a special case. We'll see. That's what we're going to.
The man who kills. to work, to break Shabbos.
Right, that's right, the hangman, we'll call him the hangman, we have to break Shabbos, right, so, break Shabbos, so that's the question, maybe this is Machal Shabbos, maybe this is the case where you're Machal Shabbos for Pikuach Nefesh, Machal Shabbos for many reasons, right? You're Machal Shabbos when you do the Avod in the Beis HaMikdash, right? You bring the carbon Talmud, Machal Shabbos there too, special mitzvah, it's Docha Shabbos, right? Docha Shabbos, so here too, so now the Gemara is going to deal with that. So as a preamble, we're going to get into the whole discussion of Kal V'chomers for being Doch. Take for us Meis Mitzvah. Now we know Meis Mitzvah is a person who dies and there's nobody to bury him. That you're docha many things, right? Even a Kohen Gadol who's not supposed to be mitame to any family member, right? But for Meis Mitzvah is docha. But take for us Meis Mitzvah docha Shabbos. Meis Mitzvah is docha many things. Can you bury a dead guy on Shabbos? Meis Mitzvah to deal with him and carry him and dig and all that stuff. Anything that's involved in Chil Shabbos, maybe a Meis Mitzvah is docha that. Mikal v'chomer. Uma avoda, the service in the Beis Mikdash is docha Shabbos, right? You have the carbon tamid, the carbon musaf on Shabbos. You bring it, it's docha Shabbos, right? Kfuras Meis Mitzvah docha osa. So even though what the service of the Beis Mikdash is stronger than Shabbos, right? Supersedes Shabbos because you're docha Shabbos for avoda, and Kfuras Mitzvah is docha that because even though he's supposed to do service in the Beis Mikdash, but if there's a Meis Mitzvah, he's got to take care of that for the Kohen has to take care of that first. How do we know that? Milachoso. What's lachoso? We says Keratanya. This pasuk is speak by Nazir. We know who are people who are not supposed to be tamei for anybody. Kohen Gadol and a Nazir. Nazir's not supposed to become tamei. It says by Nazir. It says the whole nefesh. Kol nefesh lo yavo. Kol nefesh mes lo yavo. And then it says no, he shouldn't be tamei to anybody. And then it says la'aviv, la'imo. La'achiv, la'choso. What do you need all that for? It says nobody. Nobody is nobody. Nobody means your parents too. So he says like Tanya la'aviv, la'imo, la'achiv, la'choso. What does it say there? Matam alomer. It already said don't be mitame. I'll call nefesh meis lo yavo. When it comes to a nazir, goes on to explain this. Rashi gives it in more detail. Well, la'choso. Why did it say la'aviv? Oh, lavi shouldn't be, but a meis mitzvah yes. It doesn't say Meis Mitzvah favors. We learn out. You already know you can't be mitame to your father if you're a Nazir and your father dies. You can't be mitame. And why did it say la'aviv? Oh, la'aviv he shouldn't, but yes for a Meis Mitzvah. Okay, why did it say la'imo? Let's say he's a Kohen and he's a Nazir. Double, right? Kohen has his own mitzvah. He's not supposed to be tamei. How do you know there? It says la'imo, not to his mother, but to a Meis Mitzvah. Yes. What happens if he's a Kohen Gadol and he shouldn't be mitame to anybody? He's even more of a stringency. Says la'achiv, he shouldn't be mitame to his mother, but if he's a Meis Mitzvah, Kohen Gadol and a Nazir, he's a Kohen Gadol and a Nazir, is mitame Meis Mitzvah. Okay, what about lachoso? Let's say it's more than that. He's a Nazir and he's a Kohen Gadol and he's on his way going looking like in the Gemara, last in the Gemara. Let's say he's doing a great mitzvahs of Shchitas Pesach and Lamas B'no, the two mitzvahs asay that involve chorus if you don't do them, right? He's doing great mitzvah. V'shama shemeis lo meis, and he heard that somebody died in his family. Yachol yitame, should he come tamei? Amrid lo yitame. No, even lachoso, he shouldn't be mitame for anybody's family. Yachol shem shen mitame lachoso, just like he's not mitame for his sister. Kach ein mitame meis mitzvah. Tamei lo lachoso. Lachoso is extra. We already know you shouldn't be mitame anybody in your family. Nobody, no nefesh, nobody, not your father, not your mother, not your brother. Why did I say lachoso? Lachoso, who didn't mitame meis mitzvah? Mitame meis mitzvah. Okay, so now let's go back. So now we know that a Meis Mitzvah is docha the avoda, right? Even though he's supposed to do work at service in the Beis Mikdash, he's about to shech the carbon Pesach or do a great mitzvah, and he is still the mitzvah of Meis Mitzvah supersedes the avoda, and avoda supersedes Shabbos, right? You have to be Machal Shabbos to do the avoda. So if that's all the case. So mitzvah Shabbos shenichas me'avoda. So now we just said that Shabbos is weaker than avoda. Avoda is docha that, and it didn't take for us meis mitzvah docha. So why don't we say that for us mitzvah should be docha Shabbos, right? If we said that avoda is stronger than Shabbos, right? Because you do the avoda even if you're machal Shabbos doing the avoda, right? Doing the avoda. So Shabbos, which is nichas avoda, certainly should be from for us meis mitzvah, which is docha the avoda. Avoda is docha Shabbos, right? And Meis Mitzvah is Docha the Avoda. So say by Kal V'chomer, therefore, if B is stronger than C and A is stronger than B, so A should certainly be stronger than C. So therefore the Meis Mitzvah should be Docha Shabbos. Oh, wait a minute, look at murder. Look at murder. Shedochas Avoda vein Dochas Shabbos. Murder. Now we're talking about one case, we're talking about, like Kurt said, is the hangman's killing the person. Here we're talking about when the Kohen murdered somebody. Right? Why? Because if the Kohen is a murderer and he's about to do the avoda, not if he's actually on the mizbech, says Rashi, but if he's about to do the avoda, you take him away from there. Pasuk says, "Me'im mizbechita kechenu lamus." You talk him away, even though he's about to do an important service. You take him away from there. So ritzicha is docha es avoda, ve'ena docha es Shabbos. Therefore. So you want to say first mitzvah, so it should be Docha Shabbos, right? No, look at Ritzicha, which is Docha the Avoda. Even though it's stronger the Avoda, it's not Docha Shabbos. So even though Shabbos is Nidcha from the Avoda, Shabbos is, so to speak, weak in the Avoda, but when it comes to Ritzicha, it's not Ritzicha is stronger than Avoda, and it's not stronger than Shabbos. You don't kill him on Shabbos. Okay, so that's what we said, Ritzicha, like we've been going all along. You can't kill somebody on Shabbos. And here also, Ritzicha, meaning when the guy's a murderer and you want to take him to do the murder, and as you remove him from the Beis Hamikdash. If the Kohen's a murderer, you remove him from the Beis Hamikdash to kill him because he's a murderer, right? So you take him away from there. Take him away, meaning that dealing with the murder and killing him is stronger than doing the avoda. So the Gemara says, okay, but gufa titches Shabbos. This comes back to our question. In other words, this was all like a preamble, learning these Kal V'chomers. Now we say, okay, fine, let's get back to that issue. Why did we say that you can't have a capital case on Friday? Because maybe you'll find for guilt, you'll have to suspend it overnight, you'll find him guilty on Shabbos, and you can't have inya din, you can't delay the justice, you have to kill him right away, but you can't kill him on Shabbos. Therefore, we don't hold court at all on Friday in capital cases. That's what we said. You can hold court on Sunday through Thursday, but you can't do it on Friday or Erev Yontif, the same thing, right? Whatever, if it's not Docha Shabbos, not Docha Yontif. So why is that the case? Maybe Ritzicha should be Docha Shabbos. Ritzicha Gufa Titchas Shabbos. Ritzicha Gufa Titchas Shabbos Mikal B'chomer. What's the Kal B'chomer? Ma Avoda Shedochas Shabbos. If Avoda is stronger than Shabbos, because right, you do the Avoda even though you Machal Shabbos, they're doing it. Ritzicha Docha Osa. Again, Ritzicha is Docha the Avoda, right? In other words, to judge this guy and kill him. If he killed somebody, you kill him, you take him away from the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, when do you do that? Lamaisa, during the weekdays, right? But you don't kill him on Shabbos, as we've said. But maybe it should be that way. Ma avoda shedocha es Shabbos, ritzicha docha osa, ritzicha es docha avoda shenemar mimes bechiti kachal lemus. Take him away and kill him. Shabbos shenidcha b'bnei avoda. Shabbos, which is again weaker than the avoda, than the service makers, and it didn't say ritzicha dochasa, so maybe ritzicha should. How do we know? You take it as a given. You can't kill him. Besson can't kill him on Shabbos, right? Because why can't you kill him? Presumably because it's not. You're not supposed to. But why not? Maybe if you have a Kal V'chomer, it should. If avoda is docha Shabbos, right? If a docha is of Shabbos and ritzicha is docha the avoda, so ritzicha should be docha Shabbos. Amarava kfar paska tan Rav Shmuel. Rav Shmuel already paskined why you can't. In other words, the Kal V'chomer could work. But why doesn't it? Because we have a limit that we were seeing a pasuk. Tanur b'Shmuel. Los Varesh, pasuk says Los Varesh b'Kol Moshe Yosef. We know there's 39 malachas on Shabbos. The Torah does not enumerate literally in the Chumash all the 39 malachas. We learn it out either from the Beis. We learn out based on the avoda in the Mishkan. And why do you get 39? Because it says malacha 39 times, whatever. Based on as far as we understand it. But there's one mitzvah that it does say b'feish. Lo savaru eish b'Kol Moshe Yosef. Don't start a fire. Don't start a fire. Matam alov. What does it learn from there? What do you mean Matam alov? Either Rav Yossi, Lalav Yatzis, either Rav Nasan, Lachalik Yatzis, a famous machlokas in Shabbos. What's the reason why it says? Why does it say? Why does the Torah enumerate this one of the 39 malachas? Machlokas Kedatanya Havar Lalav Yatzis Rav Yossi. You know why? Because every malach on Shabbos. What's the punishment for malach on Shabbos? If you do it with Eidim and Asra, it's skila. If not, it's karas, right? If you did it b'mezid, it's karas. If you did it b'shogeg, you chatas. Okay. Kedatanya Havar Lalav Yatzis to tell me though, this is what why it says this one to tell me this is only a lav. You don't get this is only malchus. You don't get skila or kares for for lighting a match on Shabbos or for starting a fire. However, Allah says, that's Rabbi Yosef. To tell me that if I did all 39 melachas in one helam, I didn't know that it was Shabbos, and I did all 39 melachas, I'm chayiv 39 times chatas, 39 chatas. To tell me each one individually. That's what the limit of Allah. So what does that have to do with us? How does that answer our question about how do we know that the Kal V'chomer, I want to say that the Kal V'chomer teaches me that Ritzicha should be Docha Shabbos, and you should be able to perform the execution of the guilty person on Shabbos. Why not? Because of what? Because of Talmud Shmuel. This doesn't teach me anything. This is talking about is Lasvaresh, was it Lalav, to teach me it's only a lav, not the Chayv Skila, or to tell me that you're Chayv on each and every one of the Melachas individually. Ela Marava, Tana Moshavas Kashlei. This is what it was Kashu. Why did it say Lasvaresh B'cham Moshvos Seichem? Moshavas Matamalo, Michti Shabbos Chavas Aguf. Shabbos is an obligation, not only in Eretz Yisrael, right? When something is totally in the land, Shvius, Arla, all those things. Midrabanan, maybe you can have certain halachas and chutz la'aretz too about the climate and all these kinds of. When it comes to basically in the Torah laws that regard the land, things that are totally in the Aretz, only in Eretz Yisrael, not in chutz la'aretz. But a mitzvah that's totally in the guf, putting on tefillin, right, keeping Shabbos, things like that. No chavos aguf, no I guess bein ba'aretz, but in chutz la'aretz, that's not new. So what does it mean? Shabbos agaf rachman alamli. Why does it say? Don't light a fire in all your dwelling places, meaning not only in Eretz Yisrael, but wherever you live. You live in St. Louis, you live in Alaska, wherever you live, you have to you shouldn't light a fire on Shabbos. Why does it tell me that? Isn't it obvious? And then what Talmud said, name of Yishmael, in the parsha of Rotzchim, if a person is a murderer and he's found guilty and he has to be killed, so I think kill him anytime. You have to kill him. Pasuk says you have to kill him. Kill him, a special mitzvah, you have to kill him. Vomus, you have to kill him. The Pasuk tells you befavorish, kill him even on Shabbos, right? Why does it say, just to give you an example, Michael, you talk about, as I said, say, by Yom Shmini Yimo Atam or so, even on Shabbos. Why? Shabbos. Torah says, by Yom Shmini specifically, even on Shabbos. The same thing. Torah says specifically, bring the carbon on Shabbos. Bring the carbon all the time, bring the carbon musaf on Shabbos. So, also, Vomus maybe means, Ben B'chal Ben Shabbos. Says if you machal Shabbos, you're going to die. B'shar malachos chutz mitzvahs bezin. Okay, it applies to other things. If you drive your car to the ball game, you do other malachos. You're chayav on Shabbos there. But for execution, the court is obligated, just like the Beis Hamikdash is mechuyev to do the karbanos on Shabbos. Maybe you're supposed to execute murderers on Shabbos also. Oh, I know Alfie, Mrs. Bezin, even Mrs. Bezin also applies to that too. Humani Mekayim Behumas. What does it mean? Kill him. B'chol Avala B'Shabbos. Oh, I know Alfie B'Shabbos. Which one is it? Talmud Lomalo Svareish B'chol Moshvo Seichem. Okay, it says Moshvo Seichem. What does that mean? We already said. Obviously, you have to keep Shabbos wherever you are. Well, Holland Omer, when it comes to the murder, it says. It says the word Moshavas also when it comes to carrying out, executing the judgment of murderers for all your generations. Just like over there in Bamidbar Lamed Hey, that pasuk is speaking about what Bezdin. Right? Af Moshavas Amar Khan, when it says Los Varshesh B'chom, it also means Bezdin. In other words, when the Torah says don't light a fire in all your dwelling places, that means dwelling places even in a Bezdin. Even when Bezdin has to execute, let's say, the execution of Sreifa. We'll talk about Sreifa later on. What is Sreifa? It doesn't mean burning him at the stake. It means, you light the the hot lead and throw it down, that burning, we have to light it and burn it, right? Rashi says, Rashi in the first of the Y lines in Rashi, Afilas Sreifas Misas Bezin. Well, Savaru. Oh, so that's how we know. Again, we got to have a Kal V'chomer that tells me that that Ritzicha kill him on Shabbos. And Behumas also, the pasuk says, maybe means even on Shabbos. Other thing. Oh, it says, and what are your dwelling places referred to? Even in court. Even in a court, you're not allowed to kill him on Shabbos. That's how we know. So that's how we know that you can't kill him, you can't execute it on Shabbos. Why? Because it says means even courts, as it says Moshavos when it comes to now that you've determined that Ritzicha is not Docha Shabbos, And Ritzicha also is not. Also, you shouldn't be able to kill the person that the Kohen who committed murder. You should also not be able to shouldn't docha the avoda. If it's not docha Shabbos, maybe it shouldn't be docha the avoda. He's a makal v'chomer. Uma Shabbos Shabbos is weaker than the avoda, right? Because we said avoda supersedes Shabbos. Ein ritzicha docha so ritzicha is not docha the avoda, right? Avoda she dochas a Shabbos. Avoda which is stronger. Ein adin shlo ritzicha docha so. If avoda is stronger than Shabbos. And even by Shabbos, Ritzicha is not Docha Shabbos. You don't kill him on Shabbos. So Ritzicha, you shouldn't take him out to kill him even for the Avoda also. What about it says? Yeah, but the pasuk says if he's a murderer, you got to take him away and kill him, even take him away from the base of English. Oh, maybe that's speaking about when the Kohen is about to do a carbon of a yachid, which is not Docha Shabbos, right? It's not Docha Shabbos. Carbon yachid, you don't bring a carbon yachid. Let's say you gave a net or a dava. That's not Docha Shabbos. It's Docha Shabbos. Carbon tamid, carbon sibur. That's Docha Shabbos. But maybe that's what we're speaking of. This is speaking about during the weekdays, like Docha Shabbos. But if you say that, if you use that logic, it won't work out. Why? Because lo te ritzicha docha carbon yachid mikal b'chomer. Let's say a carbon yachid that you're bringing on yontif. We'll say ritzicha shouldn't be docha that. Why? Mad yontif shenitchem carbon yachid. According, if we hold, there's a machlokas whether you can bring a carbon yachid on yontif. On Shabbos you can't, but on yontif can you bring a carbon yachid like if you gave an eder and a dava? Umay yontif shenitchem carbon yachid. If you hold it, you could bring a carbon yachid on yontif. So carbon yachid is docha yontif. You say yontif is mutter. Yontif is different because Yontif ochel nefesh, even if it's not ochel nefesh. Let's say you're bringing an ola, which is not eating anything. Still, we say carbon yachid is docha that, right? Ein ritzicha docha is carbon yachid, but you can't kill him in carbon yachid. Why? Ein ritzicha docha also. Ritzicha is not docha yontif. Why? Because it's not docha Shabbos, not docha yontif. Ritzicha ein vein Shabbos yontif ela ochel nefesh bilvad. So Madach Yontif, which is stronger than a carbon yachid, because you could bring a carbon yachid on Yontif. Yontif is stronger. I'm sorry, Yontif is weaker than carbon yachid because you're being a carbon yachid and in your docha Yontif, ein ritzicha docha so, but ritzicha is what? Is weaker than Yontif, because if it's weaker than Shabbos and Yontif have the same halacha. So carbon yachid she doches Yontif, a carbon yachid which is docha Yontif. Right, Yontif is nitchli. So the opposite, yachid, carbon yachid, which is stronger, which supersedes Yontif. Ain't a din shlo teretzicha docha. So certainly it should not be docha that. So if you're bringing a carbon yachid, you shouldn't be able to kill him away. You shouldn't be able to kill him. So what are you going to do with mi'emes b'chitei k'chalalamas? If you say, okay, if the Dharm Davos are not brought in Yontif, so this falls away. You can't say Yontif is Nitchav Karmi Yachid because you don't bring a carbon Yachid in Yontif, and therefore you wouldn't have this Kal V'chomer. Elaman Dharm and the Dharm Davos craving Yontif. If you hold, you could bring an Eder Dava on Yontif, so that means that Yontif is weaker than the carbon. If Yontif is weaker than the carbon and still Ritzich is not Docha Yontif, it's certainly not Docha. It's not Docha. The avoda bring the carbon. Michael Amemer Elam Rava Lomi boy Laman Dharm Davos craving beyontiv. Certainly, according to one that says Dharm Davos craving beyontiv, because then you want to misbechid. When are you going to have miskaim dechos? If you say that a yontif was nitcha for carbon yachid and Ritzich is not docha that. So what is it? Misbechid tells me that Ritzich is docha those things. So when is it docha? If you say that yontif is nitcha from carbon yachid, and Ritzicha is not docha, and Ritzicha ain't Ritzicha docha. So what is Mimas Picha is teaching me? It's not, you can't apply it at all. Ela filamandam dardos ain't craved beyond, even though it's not craved beyond, right? And if dardos are not carbon beyond, so you could say Mimas Picha applies to that. You can't bring a carbon down at a day like Yontif when you can't bring the Dharma Davos. That's when you say Mimas Picha meaning you can't bring it on Yontif, so you apply it to other days. But it says mizbechi, my mizbechi hamiyuchali. That's my special mizbech. Umanenu carbon tamid. Even there it says, even when you're bringing a carbon tamid, which is required to bring every day, still tikachem levas. So you see over here that the ritzicha is not docha. Why is ritzicha not docha? The avoda. I mean ritzicha. Ritzicha is docha the avoda. It's not docha Shabbos because of lasarish b'chol mashva sechem. But we said ritzicha is docha the avoda. Why? Because it says you want to apply it only where? Only on weekdays. Only on weekdays. Doesn't say that. It says even carbon tummy, which is brought every single day, including Shabbos, you take them away. So even when he's doing any avoda, whether it's a carbon yachid or a carbon sibur, even if it's a carbon sibur, which is the ikar karbanos, Rashi says, dainu tamichu ikar kol karbanos, even if he's involved in that, ritzichas docha that, and you take him away and you kill him if he's a murder, no matter when it is, no matter even if it's on Shabbos and whenever it is, you take him away. Now you can't kill him on Shabbos, right? You still can't do the avoda on Shabbos, but you could take him away no matter what the avoda is, no matter even if he's doing the highest avoda. You can't docha that. You want to say carbon yachid is not docha Shabbos, even something which is docha Shabbos, like a carbon tamid, right? A carbon tamid which is docha Shabbos, but ritzicha, when he's doing carbon tamid, is docha that. You take him away to kill him. Now, obviously, you couldn't do the judgment on Shabbos because you can't kill him on Shabbos, right? But you could take him away from there you remove him from there for eventual judgment. All right, we'll pick him here tomorrow. Mitzvah Shem. Have a good day, everybody. Call to.
Is there anything like not the equivalent of a presidential pardon? We can, this can be king, pardon,
No, not like not like Biden. No.